Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Paul Delgado here from the Fox 13 Weather Center watching the progress of Hurricane Buddy. Don't forget to log on to our website, myfoxhurricane.com, for more updates, including exclusive modeling predictions. So check that out. We've seen Buddy make the trip across Cuba. There was some weakening for a time. We've had confirmed wind gusts, though, of 125 to 130 on the extreme western tip of Cuba. So this is obviously a very bad situation. You've got the good outflow, you've got good inflow at lower levels, so all signs indicate this is still on track to be a major hurricane making landfall along our west coast on Friday. 23.9, 82.9, top winds now 110, still moving northwest at 18. The position, it's about 290 miles to the south of Tampa, and our confidence continues to be very high that this storm's going to make landfall around Tampa Bay, maybe north of Tampa Bay, and for that reason, the hurricane warning is still in effect. No change from Florida Bay all the way up to Apalachicola, and by definition, a hurricane warning means you can expect hurricane conditions within 36 hours. Here's that storm track coming right up through Tampa Bay as a Category 3. Maybe slowing down a little bit, making landfall on Friday afternoon, maybe by dark, and then accelerating northeast up towards the Carolinas as a tropical storm. This could be the most significant hurricane event since way back in 1921 when we had a storm that did a similar track and caused all kinds of damage. That was a storm back in 1921 before they were named. Let's talk about the specifics, and we'll zoom in, get a better view. 2 o'clock on Friday. Looks like it'll make landfall near or over Pinellas or Pasco, and that's a bad case situation for us, pushing all that water right up Tampa Bay. With a south and southwest wind, you could be talking about flooding in downtown Tampa, along Bayshore, through Inner Bay, Davis Islands, and all the way along the northeast coast of Pinellas, all the way down into northeast St. Pete, and all the way down across the beaches. This is a major, major situation.
Just 200 miles off Florida's west coast, it hits an air current that directs the rapidly strengthening hurricane towards the northeast.
It takes a right-hand turn and starts coming toward Tampa.
At 10 miles an hour, the storm will travel those 200 miles and make landfall in 20 hours, although the surge may come even earlier.
20 hours. We take somewhere between 24 and 36 hours to do a proper evacuation. Do the math. We're behind the curve.
Officials immediately issue a mandatory evacuation order to the more than 1 million people living in surge zones.
And we have a tremendous population that lives along the water's edge, and surprisingly in some areas you could be a mile or two back from the shoreline of the bay and still be under threat from a storm surge.
While 500,000 hit the roads and scramble for their lives, another 500,000 ignore warnings and stay put. They don't think to escape until gale force winds start battering their windows.
Guess what? It's too late.
The hurricane makes landfall just north of Tampa Bay. Now its ferocious winds scream through the area at 145 miles per hour.
Extreme battery, extreme violence.
Homes totally devastated, without roofs, walls caved in.
At the same time, driven by the hurricane's eye-wall winds, comes the dreaded beast, the storm surge. Combined with the raging waves, the surge reaches almost 15 feet high. First, it swallows up the low-lying barrier islands.
Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach, Indian Rocks Beach, you name every beach we've got, it's underwater.
If you're in a two-story house, you will be completely engulfed.
They're calling 911, saying the water's rising, come get me. We can't come get you.
With the surge moving 20 miles per hour, there's no way to outrun it.
You've got a lot of force, a lot of momentum, knocking down the trees and floating the cars. You think, well, I can just swim. No, you can't. The debris is going to be slamming into you, and you're going to drown.
But the worst is yet to come. As the surge is driven into Tampa Bay, all that water is forced into a constricted space.
That would push that water up into the funnel-shaped embayments.
Under as much as 20 feet of water, the U.S. military's MacDill Air Force Base is no match for Mother Nature's might.
Most of McDill is only 5 or 6 feet above sea level, and the whole base will be inundated with seawater.
Next, the surge sweeps through thousands of tanks holding flammable and noxious materials.
We now have a bay full of oil and chemicals. It's a major environmental disaster.
The toxic surge envelops Tampa's entire downtown district.
You are now looking at the 28 to 30 feet of storm surge in downtown Tampa. And so you're talking about a major scenario.
Our nonstop coverage continues. Thanks for tuning in to Fox 13 and obviously checking out our website, myfoxhurricane.com. It's been a tough day and a half with the hurricane now moving onshore. You know, that slight turn to the right at the last moment brought the center as a Category 3. The problem is there was a lot of water in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico that was building almost like a dome of water that was moving with the hurricane. So even though this is a Category 3 hurricane and made landfall as a Category 3, the storm surge flooding was at Category 5 levels, just like Katrina, with storm surge in some places along the coast in excess of 30 feet. We're getting reports right now in the newsroom of widespread damage, and a lot of homes have been washed away. 27.5, 82.4 top wind, still 125, about 31 miles to the south of Tampa. And the storm continues to accelerate to the north and northeast. It will weaken to a Category 2 near Jacksonville and eventually just a tropical storm, but still there'll be impacts inland all the way from, what's up there, by Claremont, up by Jacksonville and Ponte Vedra, and all the way up across the Carolinas. There'll be more damage, power outages and whatnot. Lots of power outages right now across Tampa Bay.
Finally, the storm passes, but after it's gone comes one final blow.
After the winds leave the area, the storm surge will go back out, and as it's going out, it'll kick you again.
Structures that had barely survived the first flood now crumble under the force of the receding waters filled with debris. What's left is a contaminated wasteland. Shattered roads, broken power grids, bridges gone.
Easily 50 billion in damage here. Easily.
What you'll see is you had a beautiful home, storm surge and wind come in, and all you have is a slab. And you'll see that everywhere.
You can see there's a lot of debris down here on the ground. Just chunks of asphalt that's been lifted off the streets and just blown down the way. This is right when the outer eye wall is moving through this area. Winds are gusting up to 97 miles an hour.
Yes. Water is all in the house. The roof is completely caved in on us. We need emergency assistance, please.
Okay, man, we can't respond right now because of the condition of the hurricane.
So many people did not heed warnings to evacuate. Rescuers are challenged to find ways back out on the islands and into hard-hit areas to conduct search and rescue operations.
Moving submarine. Roger. Submarine survivor are coming in.
Currently, there are 165 known deaths and more than 30,000 are missing. According to the preliminary damage assessments, at least 1 million buildings were at least moderately damaged. That is over 67% of the total number of buildings in the Tampa Bay area. An estimated 480,000 structures are completely destroyed. Before the hurricane, the region had approximately 14,000 hospital beds available for use. It is estimated that 42 of our 57 hospitals received at least moderate damage. "60% of our fire stations and police stations have been damaged. The sheer amount of debris is overwhelming and will become a health hazard in many communities. It is estimated that 48 million tons of debris will be generated, enough to fill 1.5 million trucks. The Port of Tampa is severely damaged with the potential for an environmental catastrophe. There were many metric tons of anhydrous ammonia, sulfuric acid, and phosphoric acid in the tank farms prior to the storm. In addition, we have lost the millions of gallons of petroleum stored there. The channels leading into the port facilities are filled with debris, and the Skyway Bridge has been damaged and will need to be assessed prior to reopening the port.
We lost everything.
An estimated 843,000 households have been displaced due to this disaster. Approximately 300,000 have sought shelter in existing shelters, as well as other local schools, churches, and businesses. Economically, there is an estimated building-related loss of $200 billion. Bridge and road closures are impacting response and recovery operations. The devastation to the region is almost unimaginable. However, Tampa Bay can recover from this catastrophe. We can rebuild our houses, schools, businesses, and infrastructure. But we have to work together.